In the 1990s, the black male is an endangered species. 1 out of every 3 black men are either in jail, on drugs, or gay.
And if 1 in 3 black guys have felonies,
that's our fault. So I don't even blame her ass. It's our fault for bringing that woman on there and not checking her. Just to see a black man from the 1990s perpetuating this narrative, you can see why black women think that we're less than. I don't blame black women for thinking that. How many times have we seen on these shows black men repeating these false narratives, black women repeating these false narratives, and then the modern black women hear it and they're like, oh, well, these men ain't shit. Now I ain't got no reason but to try and date outside my race because all these black men is broke, they in jail or they gay.
The main problem I have is everyone here is looking at it like it's a question of love and it's a question of what makes people different. Actually, it takes a lot more than just pigmentation, which separates the races. In fact, there have been major studies on it. No one talks about the survival of the black race. In the 1990s, the black male is an endangered species. 1 out of every 3 black men are either in jail, on drugs, or gay.
Y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? Where did that come from, guys? And y'all get mad for saying this, and for me saying this, black men have a huge part in these false, negative-ass stereotypes that we're still dealing with till this day. He just said the big 3. That's crazy, right?
In the 1990s, the black male is an endangered species. 1 out of every 3 black men are either in jail, on drugs, or gay. Now, sisters are going to,
Look, they're shaking their head like, yes, let's put a pin in this right now. Because I don't want anybody in the chat leaving here thinking that dumbass shit is true. It has never been true. These so-called pseudo-intellectuals, the statistics, you didn't look at no statistics, brother. I do this for a living. And hell yeah, I'm pissed off at a 1994 clip. But that shit pissed me off. Because that gives black women free reign to move these things forward when they hear a black man perpetuate this foolishness. Let's start here. The claim. 1 in 3 black men are in jail, on drugs, or gay. This was a popular talking point in the 1990s, especially on talk shows like Ricky Lake, Sally Jesse Raphael, and others. Okay? But it was not based on any scientific data set. It is actually a combination of 3 different myths that got mixed together. All right, so A, a misinterpretation of incarceration statistics, the crack era drug panic, and then early moral panic about LGBTQ visibility. Let's go here. The only statistic that got close to 1 in 3 came from a projection, not a reality. 1995 Bureau of Justice Statistics projection. 1 in 3 black boys born in the early 1990s could expect to be incarcerated at some point in their lifetimes if the rates did not change. That was not saying 1 in 3 black men at that moment were in prison. It was a speculative projection. And importantly, the prediction never came true. Now, how many times have you heard black people mention that 1 in 3 black men have a felony? 1 in 3 black men are in jail. This is where this dumbass shit comes from. Okay? Because nobody was smart enough to do their due diligence and do the research to see that none of this shit has ever been true. Are y'all starting to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing? Why I'm dispelling all these false ass narratives that have been circulated in the sewers of the black community? Y'all get it? This is crazy. All right, actual incarceration rates in the mid 1990s. Around 6 to 7% of black men aged 20 to 25 to 29 were in state or federal prison. Adding jails brings us closer to 9 to 10%, depending on the year, 25 to 29. That is nowhere near 1/3. And again, that's from 25 to 29. And I just covered the crack epidemic, the crack era, where we had our largest incarceration rates. Okay, so even if you include the older black men during that time, the younger black men who weren't in prison, that 9 to 10% decreases to about 3 to 5%. Okay, when you add those groups that don't go to jail as much. All right, so for that study, it was 25 to 29 years old. All right, let's continue. me bring this up. So, on drugs, highly misleading. In the 1990s, the war on drugs created the perception that black men were uniquely on drugs. But every major survey, including the National Survey on Drug Use and Drug Use and Health, found that black and white Americans use drugs at similar rates. Jesus. Some years even showed slightly higher drug use among whites. So this part of the claim is also false. Dummy. Gay. Totally invented statistic. There has never been a data set showing 1 in 3 black men are gay, 1 in 3 black men gay plus incarcerated plus on drugs. And then from the UCLA Williams Institute estimates, 3 to 5% black men identify as gay or bisexual. Nowhere near 33%. And that's even a projection because of the fact that we extrapolate that out for men. So real quick on how the health system works. Men who have sex with men, MSM, that is the umbrella for black men who are men in general, whoever who identify as gay, bisexual, or whatever else, and also the quote unquote down low black men. All of that is encompassed under the MSM population. So when we do tests and people come back positive for certain diseases, it gets filed under MSM because some black men don't identify themselves as being gay or bisexual. However, they had sex with a man. So that goes under the MSM category. Okay? That's why we adopted that, that acronym or that phrase, because we do get all men come into the clinics and they'll say they had an encounter with a man, but they don't consider themselves gay or bisexual. So that's why we have MSM, men who have sex with men. Make sense? All right. So in the Williams Institute, the study, the most recent one, I think it may have slightly increased, but it was 1.2 million. And that is predominantly the 1.2 million LGBTQ black population. 61% is black women, 39% is black men. There's never been a time that there's been more black men that are gay than black women. Black women actually outnumber all races of women's group in the gay department. Okay? It just is what it is. So, but black men get saddled with this, and it's always used as a, in a negative connotation or whatever. Like I said, man, it's nothing. People can be gay, whatever, do what they want. But when you use it in a negative, a negative disposition to try and shame black men, heterosexual black men, because a dude broke up with you or he spoke his mind and now he's sassy, that's where I step in. Okay? And I always wonder, when are black women going to call out gay black men instead of siding with them when they're talking mess about black men? Because if y'all don't know, black women are caught in the HIV tailspin because you have black LGBTQ gay men who lead in the category of HIV, and then you have black women smack dab in the middle, and then you have heterosexual black men all the way at the bottom, third. The reason why black women's HIV rates are so high is because y'all dealing with gay men who have sex with men unprotected. But for some odd reason, y'all got all this smoke for heterosexual men, but you have no smoke from the group that's actually giving you the most diseases. Why is that? Why haven't y'all had a discussion with the gay population in the black community, the gay black men? Why are y'all talking about us heterosexual black men when we're not the problem when it comes in that area? You need to be talking to the MSM community. Or you need to stop fucking so much. And you need to get tested with the guys that you're having sex with. We've already proven that there are a significant amount of black women that don't mind having sex with gay men. And that's where the problem lies. So it's about that time that y'all have some sort of town hall meeting without heterosexual black men, and you talk to those gay men and ask them why you ain't telling us that you having sex with men, or why you ain't telling us that you're infected with HIV before we have sex. Can y'all do that? Are you scared? Damn. So make no sense, man. Let's see here. So where did the myth come from? This 1 in 3 line was a cultural talking point, not an empirical one. Let's see here. It came from 1990 talk shows. Like I said, housing project and crack era. Every third boy is either dead or locked up. Y'all know this was a local saying, not a data set. Misreading the BJS projections. People took a future hypothetical and treated it as a current fact. Early internet chain emails and books exaggerating statistics. Jesus. They were not based on CDC, BGS, NSDUH data. So again, let's go ahead and clarify. All this stuff, not true at all. There's no version of legitimate math that reaches 33%. And that is the reason why it led me to create this, to explain to the black community, the 1 in 3 black men have a felony statistic does not mean 1 in 3 black men walking around today have a felony. That is a racist talking point. Now, the reason why I did this is because of this Ricky Lake show. After I posted it, there was a lot of people saying that just pearly things were on a bunch of shows saying that 1 in 3 black men have a felony.
And if 1 in 3 black guys have felonies,
And if 1 in 3 black guys have felonies,
then that's just going to be more common.
And I really don't know the 1 in 3. That's surprising to think that 1 in 3 black men have felonies. Where did that come from?
You can Google it.
All right, so I think we're kind of seeing a little bit of looseness or shoddiness in these arguments here. I mean, that's a very, and I'm not saying that it's wrong, but that's a very stark argument, there, a very stark statistic that 1 in 3 black men have felonies. So it would be good if you're going to put that out there to kind of know where we got it, right?
She was on these black shows and she said that, and nobody checked her ass because nobody's actually done the research to prove her wrong. So when you get these white folks on these platforms like Steven Crowder, like Just Pearly, who don't do the research themselves and also can't even tell you the statistics for their own race of men.
It's kind of weird to know the stats for black men and not know the stats for white men. Is that a little weird? Do you know how many white men are felons?
Not off the top of my head. I know I've looked it up before.
Do we all see kind of what's going on? Right. And this is what you got to be careful about. Now, if you're just going to be dating on this fatty guy's channel, you don't really have to be, I guess, so buttoned up. Right. But if you want to present yourself and like, hey, I know what I'm talking about. It's weird to know how many black men are felons, but not to know how many white men are felons, but then that white.
Do you want to just Google it? You can Google it if you want.
But you're the one making the argument, not me.
Well, I came here to talk about the marriage debate.
Okay, so let's just end it. Because now we're going down another road. It's fair. You're fine.
That's how you know somebody is racist, and you should not be rocking with them. I don't know why I got to keep telling the black community this. Are y'all that hard up on getting clicks, likes, and views? Where you gonna sit there and have an openly racist woman on there to spew this dumb shit, and you not gonna do the research for yourself, and then not ask her, can you tell me the white men's statistics on grape, on child, essay, on how many times they swing on their wives, drug use? Why you can't tell me none of your people's statistics, but you citing this black stuff? That's our fault. So I don't even blame her ass. It's our fault for bringing that woman on there and not checking her. Y'all should be doing this damn research. I can't be everywhere. Like I said, I created this for this episode. Not because of her. I didn't even know she said it. Until I started getting 3-4 emails, DMs about this shit. Oh man, is this true, media man? Why are you asking me? The time that it took for you to DM me and cut and paste what Pearly Things had said, you could have did the same thing that I did. Everybody's supposedly an expert because of ChatGPT now, right? ChatGPT the shit and let me know what it says. Then you bring me some information and we can have a discussion, okay? Because I can't be everywhere. I don't mind doing this stuff to educate, but when you hear it, you need to say something, okay? So yeah, man, you gotta watch these white folks, man, trying to go viral and shit. Oh, I went on the black space and I told them to their face and they didn't even check me about it. I didn't even check the statistics. I just heard it. We got to do better, man. Now, so like I said, the 1 in 3 narrative came from older research about the lifetime risk of imprisonment for black men born in the early 1980s. It does not mean that 1 in 3 black men alive today are felons. I need to make that clear. The newest Sentencing Project report, like I reported, shows black men born in 2001 now have a 1 in 5 lifetime risk and not a 1 in 3. And that was one of the sticking points where I was telling you guys that you need to be proud of these millennials and the Gen Zers, because they are primarily responsible for decreasing these rates. Okay? So again, the 1 in 3 black men are felons line is outdated, inaccurate, and is often used as a racist talking point to exaggerate criminality in the black community. That's how they get us. Okay? It's right there, man. My goodness. And just to see a black man from the 1990s perpetuating this narrative, you can see why black women think that we're less than. And I've said this before, I don't blame black women for thinking that. How many times have we seen on these shows black men repeating these false narratives, black women repeating these false narratives? And then the modern black women hear it and they're like, oh, well, these men ain't shit. Now I ain't got no reason but to try and date outside my race because all these black men is broke, they in jail or they gay. And that's leading black women down a dark path because there has been a slight increase on black women getting with white men and they end up deleted because they think that black men are less than, probably, which is why they have these tweets and shit about black men being trash, and then they go to a white man, he ain't ready to handle that black woman pressure. And they end up getting deleted. It's not right at all. It's sad, but I feel that if they were told the truth and the narrative about black men was more positive and more truthful, then they wouldn't think like that. But since it's not, they're going to these other races of men because they think that we're less than, because we have people in the black community and society telling them that we ain't shit. And that's why we need to be more vocal as black men to, hey man, this is wrong. This is false. This is not true. Okay? Some of these women, let them go. It ain't no saving them. I tried. I was trying to be more vocal in the comment section. They ain't listening. It's just a bunch of shaming language after I tell them the truth. But some of these young women, you know, hey man, we got to start being more vocal. Okay? If you care. If you don't, man, I don't blame you. So, this shit it's all bad. I missed some super chat. Sorry guys, I know I went on a tangent there.